this isn't a normal course on material success. It's really it's a course for us to understand the foundational principles of self-realization, and not just understand the principles, but to understand how we can apply them and make them real in our daily life. Master Paramhansa Yogananda, that's who I mean, of course, when I say master, he had an affirmation where he said, I have the intelligence and wisdom to see the solution to every problem and the energy and will to carry it through. I'm paraphrasing. There's an affirmation from scientific healing affirmations. It's not enough, right, for us just to have the intellectual understanding. That's what Yogananda meant when he said the time for knowing God has come. And this is very much the same. This is a course for knowing how we can apply these spiritual principles in our daily life, which is we're dealing with the world of matter. Um, so what we're going to do tonight, we only have, less than an hour here, is we're going to discuss, and I would love for this to be a discussion. So if you have any questions or comments at any time, feel free to type them into the chat box, unmute yourself, and please, because it's meant to be a book study, right, that we're sharing informally together. But for tonight, we're going to discuss the introduction and lesson one. Now, that the introduction I found deeply inspiring. It's Swami is really giving the background of the three main Indian philosophies, and I don't even want to say Indian philosophies, Sanatan Dharma, meaning the eternal religion or the eternal way is almost a better way for us to think about it. The eternal truths, these timeless truths of eternity. Um, and Swami reminds us of, think of a triangle, like an isosceles triangle, where each side of the triangle, the three sides are equal. You have Shankhya on one, Yoga on another side, and then Vedanta. And Swami makes it really clear that Shankhya is the why. It's our understanding that this world is suffering and sorrow. We're very familiar. How many of you know Yogananda's poem, or have heard it, or maybe you've memorized it? His poem Samadhi. Vanished the veils of light and shade, lifted every vapor of sorrow, sailed away all dawns of fleeting joy, gone the dim sensory mirage, love, hate, health, disease, life, death. Right? The beginning of that poem is kind of like a Shankhya understanding that we live in a world of duality. And Yogananda, I'm rereading the autobiography. It's such an incredible book. I'm sure you're probably rereading it yourself. And I don't recall what chapter, but Yogananda said the prison. There's this one phrase sort of caught my attention. He said the prison of duality. And I had never heard that. Yeah, I've read the autobiography a number of times, but that really caught my attention. And then when I was going back and reciting Samadhi one morning, I thought, oh, this is the prison of duality: love, hate, health, disease, life, death. Perish these false shadows on the screen, he says it right there, of duality. So that's Shankhya. That's the Shankhya philosophy. It's the understanding that the world of Maya, or Maya, works through duality, and duality, or Dvaita, as it's the Sanskrit word, is a prison. Uh, it's also important for us to remember not everyone wants out of the prison of duality. Some people are perfectly happy with it. and they want high highs and they want low lows. And Nayaswami Narayan told that story when he was coming onto the spiritual path, and his, I think, manager from where he was coming from said, "But I love the highs of life and the lows." Well, that's just the nature of creation, right? It's like um, if we have the ocean, when a wave goes rises, there's a trough, right? There's always going to be a corresponding, and this is where there's a misunderstanding. Everything has to return to zero, but this is sort of where some Buddhists didn't understand Buddha's true philosophy, and they, well, then it's to achieve nothingness. Well, no, that's not what it's for. We need to have some positive goal that we're aspiring towards, right? That's Vedanta. That's the other side of that isosceles triangle. And Vedanta is the what, right? We have the why, we're in pain. Well, what is the answer? What is it all for? And Yogananda answers it in that poem, Samadhi. I would encourage you to go back to, how many people probably have a copy of Whispers from Eternity? If someone can find theirs and pop it open, go to the poem Samadhi and go to the end. Mike, I see you have it there. Go to Samadhi's at the end of Whispers, but go to the end of the poem and he starts to describe the state of Samadhi. Let me know when you get there, Mike. And there's the very last um, paragraph where he's describing Samadhi. And it's a beautiful explanation of Vedanta, of what our goal is on the spiritual path. And Mike, let me know if you find it. It's where he says something like, it's not about nothingness, but it's about attaining the perennial joy of God. And he actually mentions the misinterpretation of Buddha's philosophy in that paragraph. Um, Mike, once you find it, whenever you do, feel free to unmute yourself, and that would be lovely to hear it.
It might not be in this particular copy I have. I have another one from SRF. Is it in that one?
No, it's in there. It's in both of them. Yeah, it's
Okay.
in yeah, just whenever you find it. So
Okay.
that is the what, but then we need the how. How do we get there? How do we get to this supernal state of samadhi? What does he say? Tranquil, unbroken thrill. That's one of the lines from the poem. That's beautiful. He's talking about the state of God union, of God contact that cannot be broken, right? Nirvikalpa samadhi. So it's important to get crystal clear of what we are working toward on the spiritual path. The dissolution of the ego, the overcoming of the ego, and the realization of our true higher self. Gita, I see you have your hand raised. Please go.
I did find the whisper online with the Samadhi poem. So do you
Yes.
want me to read the last part? 'Cause I don't know when you saw
No,
me lower my hand.
there is a explanation after actually the poem where Yogananda is describing some samadhi, and it's like a page or two long. Mike,
Yes,
maybe, yeah.
I have
Let's,
it.
I have.
okay,
Okay, go ahead.
go ahead, Mike.
So, like, thus the negative conception of God, that
Yeah,
part.
yeah, that part
Thus,
exactly.
thus the negative conception of God as having nothing in common with human ways is removed. The yogi, instead of finding a cessation of all life and joy, even a vast void, as unenlightened followers of the Buddha believe, becomes the eternal fountainhead of bliss and of all life. The tiny bubble of laughter becomes the sea of mirth itself. In knowing God, one does not lose anything at all. He gains everything. It should be added that it is still possible for the yogi to fall from the state of Sabikalpa Samadhi, for from that lower samadhi he must return to ego consciousness. One is freed forever once he attains the highest state, Nirvikalpa Samadhi.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Gita. Thank you, Mike. Gita put it in the chat as well, so we have it in there. Thank you for reading it, Mike. Isn't that beautiful? You see, that's why I wanted us to start, and that's why Swami started the course in this way. He's like, forgive the sports analogy, it's like blocking and tackling. You want to get clear on your fundamentals, right? And so it's like, what are we fundamentally moving towards? The fundamental, the essence of everything, spirit, union with spirit. And I love that. And the way that Master, if you think about it, it's so beautiful. This is an age of self-interest, right? We're ascending to our part. We're early energy age. It's very little self-centered, but it's moving towards enlightenment, right? It's becoming enlightened self-interest. So like back, I don't know, 30 years ago, Swami said that one of the best-selling books at that time, "What's in it for me?" Right? What's in it for number one? And that was the question. Swami said, this is the vaunted philosophy of this New York Times best-selling book. It was, what's in it for me? And that's the question you should ask. Well, that's not where I know we are at. We're asking. But Swami actually ended, I remember one of his talks, I think it was on the essence of the Gita, just like this. He said, what's in it for you? Everything. You see, and we need to get clear about that, because we're moving from ego consciousness to infinite self-consciousness. And that is why Master gave the new expression of Sanatana Dharma, truth, at this age. He called it capital S, self-realization. And so it's, again, important to understand this isn't self-actualization psychology of realizing, your own human potential. It's realizing your superhuman potential, where people say, oh, I'm only human. Swami would say, actually, you're not yet fully human. We haven't yet fully realized our full and complete potential. And then, of course, it comes the question, how do we get there? That is yoga, right? And that's what the whole course is, material success through yoga principles. It's understanding these principles and why they work. And so that brings us now to, well, let me pause. Did we have any questions, comments from the introduction?
It was, I'm reading the notes, Shankya, Vedanta, and Yoga. Those were the three limbs you said?
Yes.
Shankya is the why, Vedanta was the
Yes.
what, Yoga
Yes.
is the how.
Correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beautiful way that Swami put it. And I love that, because the name of our Ananda's publishing arm, I think you all know, it's Crystal Clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And Swami gave it that name for a reason. He said if he couldn't make a clear, concrete example or illustration of something, he wasn't sure that he understood it. And so he could break down these incredibly deep spiritual truths in his writing in such a way that makes us say, oh yeah, that makes sense. And that's actually what he was attempting to do every time he wrote. He said he would try and feel like he was having a conversation with someone, with an individual, with you, Gita, and Mike, and all of us. I'm reading, if you have the book, top of page 4 in the introduction. This is important. To despise creation is self-limiting. The yogi should behold all things as part of the one infinite self. Even evil people are struggling, albeit ignorantly, at present to find happiness, which they will realize at last is their own true nature. But I thought this is a good point, is to remember that the way that Yogananda taught and the way that Swami is drawing it out for us is to enjoy everything, enjoy all good things with the joy of God, right? It's like if to not enjoy an artist's painting. This is creation is God's, it's his painting, it's his artwork, it's his play, it's his lila. And if we can enjoy it, Davy wrote a blog, I think it was the one that just recently came out, Nayaswami Devi, about my father's business. And she was mentioning this article that she read of Yogananda, where Yogananda said something like, if you have family and friends that you love, that's okay. And you can be attached to them. But he said, he made this subtle shift. He said, but be attached to the God in them. And I was thinking, like, oh, I am attached to the God in you, Mother Divine, oh Father in blue. I am attached to the God in you, right? Overwhelmed by your becoming, but I am coming to you. That's the important point. So you see what I mean, that Master Yogananda and Swami, they're helping us to spiritualize our daily life. So it's just very important. Then this is bottom of page 4, going on to 5, if you have the book. The Sankhya philosophy analyzes and exposes the errors of delusion. That's what we were talking about. Vedanta teaches the eternal nature of reality, yet states that philosophy alone cannot bestow the certainty that is born of experience. Only yoga teaches the way out of delusion, how to walk firmly without stumbling in the raging waters of Maya, in full command of one's life and inwardly singing with joy. Isn't that beautiful?
There's a question that Martha
Yeah,
has.
yeah, please.
I have a question about the Sabikalpa and the Nirbikalpa. And
Yeah.
the way I'm figuring it right now is sometimes when I meditate, I reach a state of something that is very much alive in, like, just feeling almost like a pinpoint in a vast universe. And it's quite peaceful, and it feels, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but I'm wondering if that's like the Sabikalpa, because I surely can fall out of that quite easily. And then if I were to reach the state where I kind of was aware of what you just described, this inwardly singing with joy and feeling that oneness all the time as I go through my day, that would be the Nirbikalpa. Am I correct in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're correct in your understanding, Martha. It's like that. Sabikalpa, even deeper is the yogi, you're touching it, right? Is that we will go into a transcendental state, like Yogananda describes, of course, in Autobiography, but literally a state of the breath being drawn out like a magnet and entering into that union with God. But when we come out of meditation, we can't hold that singing with joy.
Yeah.
And so that's what Nirvikalpa is. Even with exacting daily duties, one's inner union with God is never lost. That's what I was alluding to, the tranquil, unbroken thrill. So if you go to Yogananda's poem, if you reread that poem, he touches on it in different ways. but yeah, that's why we want to hitch ourselves. It's like when Yogananda met Ram Gopal Muzumdar, if you remember, the sleepless saint is the chapter in autobiography. And Ram Gopal says something like, hitch yourself to that pole star, and if you work hard, you will get there. And, these are exalted states, of course. And one of the, I think, most important things, this is one of Maya's plays, right? One of delusion's big cards is discouragement. Who has not become discouraged at some point? And, that's why Swami gave us as a disciple, like, there's the hub of the wheel, so to speak, right here. It's the light of God right through the Guru. And he's saying, look, you can bring this teaching into material success. You can bring it into relationships. You can bring it into music. But you need to learn the science and art of communing with God. And then how do you walk through life with that divine connection and remembrance? That's the beautiful thing. It's he made, and why I think we're all drawn to Yogananda through Swami Kriyananda in a sense, is because Swami was creative in the application of discipleship, right? It's not being a yes man, yes woman, just, that's not the obedience that the Guru is asking. He's asking of our divine understanding. And it takes we know this, I know we all know this, that it takes our greatest effort, right, to attune ourselves, to hold ourselves in that state. So the good news is that we have unending, ever new inspiration. That's the Sat Chit Ananda, right? Ever existing, ever conscious, ever new, as Yogananda added, bliss. And the more we meditate with sincerity and with devotion and with that, we gain a little bit of faith and experience of God. And then we get a little bit more. Aaron told that beautiful story recently of Swami Shankaracharya, and he was on the opposite side of the Ganges, and one of his disciples was on the other side. And he just very subtly just said, come. And this disciple had, without hesitation, just started walking across the river, the Ganges, and the lotus flowers came up and they held his feet up and until they got to the other side, and he bowed at his master's feet. And then Swami Shankaracharya gave him the name Padma Pada. He had lotus feet. But the point of that story was that he had already some direct experience of his guru, Swami Shankaracharya. And he had built that foundation, right, Martha? So that's what we're doing. We're building this foundation. And each, this is why Yogananda is giving us that, each make your everyday's meditation deeper than before. Well, it doesn't always feel like that, but as long as we're making the effort, right? We're making an effort, and we can go deeper really through deepening relaxation, right? Deepening trust, deeper love, deeper devotion. And this only happens through divine grace. That's why I was sharing at the beginning, this isn't a normal course on material success. So let's get into lesson 1, Dharma as the key to success. Page 7. And Swami, he's beginning this lesson with this understanding of gratitude. And he quotes Sri Yukteswar throughout the lesson: as long as one breathes the free air of earth, we must render grateful service. Right? And of course, that's the key operative word, grateful. But Swami says here the answer is twofold. First, as we shall see, there is indeed cause in the sense that there is a consciousness which receives our gratitude and responds to it. And second, because to express gratitude is self-ennobling. And then I'm skipping down a paragraph. Finally, we should be grateful for life. It's actually, I'm sorry, I'll read that paragraph. Sri Yukteswar said also that karmic law, though its functions to a great extent automatically, is also guided by a universal intelligence and love, can also be intelligently manipulated or diverted. Hence, the concept of divine grace, kripa, in Sanskrit, is common to most religions. Kripa can be won above all by divine devotion and love. That's what we were just talking about. Finally, we should be grateful for life itself. Gratitude in this case transcends reason. After all, one might say, we exist. Why be grateful for the fact? Gratitude, properly understood, has no reason. It is simply an aspect of the pure joy of our existence, so much a part of it that one can hardly be distinguished from the other. That's so powerful. I thought, in a sense, like gratitude is like bliss's younger brother, right? When we're feeling grateful, aren't we feeling more joyful and we're feeling closer to bliss? And when we're, I think I've shared with some of you, some may know, some not. Dharma Devi and I live here. We're right adjacent to Ananda village, and we have a little hobby farm. We have a cow, 2 goats, and 7 chickens, and 2 dogs. We have a livestock guardian dog, and so it's a hobby farm. It's not, we're not milking the cow, we're not milking the goats. We do get eggs from the chickens. And I don't know, about a couple weeks ago or so, I was bringing the animals in for the night. We have a little barn that we put them in. We lock them in at night because there's bobcats, mountain lions that would, they would eat the goats. So anyway, I was impatient with the chickens because I had everyone in the barn. I was like, dag nabbit, these chickens are just taking forever to get in the barn. And I'm gonna have to go wrangle the chickens. You don't want to, even though I'm Italian, and if you've seen Rocky 1, he chases a chicken. I didn't want to chase the chicken. So you just wait is the best thing. But I was impatient. But the interesting thing happened was it was a blessing. The cow, we have this beautiful cow, and the cow loves to be brushed. You have like a really a metal brush that gets in there. And so I just started brushing the cow. I was like, well, I'm here with the cow. I'm just going to enjoy brushing the cow. And I just got into this, moment of gratitude, shifted from complaining to gratitude to giving. And I just was enjoying being with the cow, being of grateful service, you see? And then after like 10 minutes of that, I realized all the chickens had come in to the barn. And I thought, what's a great example of what happens with our karma. When we get agitated, we get upset, we're trying to run after it, get our hands around it, when really what we need to do is the fire of divine devotion, like Swami said, and draw deeper grace into our life through deeper love for God and gratitude And then it's in that fire of divine wisdom that our karma is purified. Anyway, it was a fun experience for me. Okay, Mike. Yes, Mike,
you
please,
talked about
please.
Grateful service. What surprised me for a major life event that I went from neutrality to forgiveness is that in the end, I was grateful for the experience. It really surprised me.
Well, isn't it so, Mike? Thank you for sharing that. That's so important. I mean, isn't it the painful experiences are the ones we look back on where we had the most growth? I mean, I
Yeah,
know
and
I
I
can
was
say,
so grateful for that. Yeah.
yeah. And of course, it's difficult in the moment to say I'm grateful for it, but it's important to remember it so that the next time something happens that feels like, oh, this is painful, we can step back a little, right? And get that, as you're sharing, Mike, that greater perspective of, oh, wow, I am so grateful. It's like Swami said, when you realize you have a fault rather than like you bemoan the fact, to be grateful that you have the self-awareness that you have something to work on. I mean, that, of course we do. That's why we're all here. If we've incarnated, right, it's either we're a self-realized master that has come back to help the planet, or we have karma to work out. It's probably the latter. So yeah, thank you, Mike. Very important. I can't believe it. We only have about 10 minutes left. This is really flying. Um, there was another important point. This is what, Mike, you were sharing. Karmic, I'm on page 9, top paragraph there. Karmic law is fair in the way it works. It is neither positive nor negative in a sense. It is indifferent in the way it responds to human action by punishment and reward. There is an important indication, however, that its seeming indifference is only outward. Karmic law is, in fact, an expression of divine love. Thus, karma serves the true purpose of encouraging all beings, especially humans, to evolve spiritually. I thought that was a powerful explanation of karmic law and way that Swami brought it out. Yeah, the law is love. Love is the law. And we transcend, we're caught in karma if we're caught in the reacting to it. And we're caught in, just the tit for tat. When we can, like you were sharing, Mike, when we can forgive and break the chain, when we can ask for divine grace through deepening love and aspiration, it's in those spaces that we can break the cycle. Nayaswami Devarshi shared that he had this challenging relationship with this one person, and he was in the all-day Christmas meditation that we have every year around Christmas, the 8-hour meditation, and he said he just felt like this wave of divine grace like flooded his being, and he just saw, of course, he felt this deep, genuine, sincere understanding for this person, forgiveness, compassion, everything. And it's just, that's grace. And if we can get that perspective that, the tendency is we take things personally. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Versus gratitude is, thank you, God. Jyotish has that beautiful affirmation, I am grateful for my life exactly as it is. I welcome every hour I'm grateful for this day. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. But I often thought that's key. It's I'm grateful for my life exactly. That's the key word, exactly as it is. Because as long as we say, well, there's just this one thing, if she would act that way, if he would do this, if only this, if only that, we have this habit of conditioning our happiness. No, the yogi is Swami Ramtirtha's song. None can tone me, say who would injure me. Beware all you mountains, stand not in my way. Devour up ye death. Yeah, this is a powerful chant that Master has in Cosmic Chants. In other words, what Swami would say, be a cause, not an effect. That's the yogic attitude. And one of the great ways to be a divine cause, a divine being, is the divine attitude of gratitude. And it's something that we need to constantly work. Thank you, God. I don't know why this is happening. I can't understand it, but I'm grateful, and I know there's some divine lesson because we're not taking anything with us. What are we taking? Our consciousness, the inner victories, the character that we develop. So, yes, Marie, did you want to share something? I thought you were raising your hand. You're muted.
Not really, but I will. I wasn't raising my hand to say anything. I was just raising my hand in gratitude. but I was just thinking about the strong will thing, about setting our adoration toward God and having the will to do the things that we're talking about here, and how the strong will merged with that gratitude just opens up doors very wide for us to walk through difficult times and to understand spiritual principles that we're talking about, and it's what I'm here for. I really want to grasp this, and I want to be able to comprehend it more. But then I'm thinking that it's just our will that we have to set toward it, and our will has to do with our relationship with the higher self and with
thank you for sharing that, Marie. It's not easy. I mean, and who said it was going to be easy? That's the point. I know many of you, maybe all of you, are Kriyabans. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. But and everyone can know this, at the Kriya initiation, we say, I will. Meaning, I will practice Kriya Yoga faithfully and regularly every day. And there are going to be times when it's not easy. That's why we have to apply. And it's the same thing. There are times it's not going to be easy to practice gratitude. And that's why we have to show up every day and ask for help. There's a letter. I'm sure many of you have God Alone. And if you don't have that book, I highly recommend it. Sister Gyanamata. It's published by Self-Realization Fellowship. You can get on that. Thank you, Mike, right there. It's like, talk about blocking and tackling. If you've got a bad attitude, go and read one of Sister's letters. But there's a letter in there, and I can't tell you exactly where it is, but she quotes Meister Eckhart, who is a German Christian mystic, right? Great saint. And she said that Meister Eckhart told one of his disciples that, the spiritual path is really is having three attitudes: detachment, seeing that all things come from God, and having unruffled patience. Isn't that beautiful? That's really like, and Sister said, if you're lacking any one of these three, it's a spiritual defect. And it's not like, oh, well, yeah, of course. But once we get that clear, it's like, oh, this is coming from God. This is the love through the karmic law teaching me to be free. It's giving me the opportunity to learn patience, to learn forgiveness, to learn whatever the divine lesson is. And if God has been waiting and whispering from eternity for me, can I not hold my love? It's like Yogananda has it in metaphysical meditations. If thou does not come to me, I will wait for thee, though it be eternity. We have to get to that point where nothing else matters, nothing else will satisfy us. And that to have that same true unruffled patience for, this is why the Indian greeting of the Namaskar is so beautiful. Like that, I honor and I bow to that light in you. That same, you are a manifestation of that same one God. And it's reminding me to have the divine vision. Of course, I'm going to have infinite patience. It's easy, to say, oh, a person was speeding. I hope they get it, their car flips over. It's not a helpful attitude. It's okay. Everyone, I was once that speeding person, we've all been there. We've all done that. And so this is one of the reasons Buddha said, one of the reasons to be compassionate towards everyone is that at some point we have been close with everyone. Like we have been brothers, we've been sisters, we have been in the same family. That's a mind-blowing, but it's a heart-opening one. So let's close. We only have a few minutes. I'm going to attempt to play Swamiji's meditation.
Martha's raising her hand in the
Yeah, I was wondering,
please.
just a quick question.
Yeah.
Could you repeat
Yes.
the rest of the affirmation? I am grateful for my life exactly as it is.
Yes. Jyotish's. Yeah. I am grateful for my life exactly as it is. I welcome this day.
I'm thankful for this day. I believe is the next one, Narayanji.
I'm thankful for this day. I welcome every hour.
Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Thank you, Gita. Yeah, it's online, Martha, too. You could find it if you Google Jyotish gratitude affirmation. Maybe if someone Googles it, they could drop in the link.
Okay, and then good. And the other thing was, what was just the first line or the name of the cosmic chant that you mentioned right after that?
Swami Ram Tirtha, Tirtha. And there's a beautiful version of Ramesha and Badri that I'm going to put in Swami Ram Tirtha song. It's such a powerful song.
Martha, it will blow your mind when you hear it. It's unlike any of the other music that we hear coming at us. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
It's like soul stirring. Talk about, when you need the spine, you go to Swami Ram Tirtha. Okay, I am trying to drop in this link. Tell me if that came through. If you click on that, and if you go to the description, wait, was that the right link? Yeah, I think that's the right link. If you go to the description, you will find the lyrics, which are all important. Okay, because there's a lot of lyrics there, and you're going to be like, wait, what's going on here? Okay. So you get the lyrics, and listen, and have the lyrics there.
Okay.
Okay, let's close with Swamiji. Swami's gonna guide us in a meditation, the meditation for lesson 1. So I'm attempting to share my screen.
Martha, I dropped the blog with the prayer in the chat.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you, Gita.
Sure.
Oh, hear this? Can you hear this? Yeah? Okay. So I invite you to close your eyes, and Swami's going to take us through this meditation.
Meditation. While practicing the following exercise, don't think of people as individuals, lest their facial expressions distract you from the feelings you are to project. Think rather of the energy that you are sending out. Visualize yourself centered in the heart. Mentally polish your heart like a silver orb until it shines. Now, see rays of light reflected off the surface of that orb, radiating outward in all directions. Mentally see those rays reaching out and touching the hearts of human beings everywhere. See the light filling each person and all life forms with radiance and joy. Meditate on the divine light shining outward from your heart to all souls everywhere. Now, see that light as a reflection coming to you from above, from its true source in God. The light you share is His gift to all through you.
Thank you, friends, for an inspiring evening. So,
Narayan, is that available? Is that another thing to drop in the chat?
So that is the audio book of Material Success through Yoga Principles. So it's the meditation from lesson 1. Swami has read the entire book. So I would encourage you, if you're an audiobook person, you can get the audiobook through Crystal Clarity. It's actually on Audible now. I'm thrilled that we have it up on Audible. So it's out to the entire world. And every lesson has Swami reciting, the principles, everything, the meditation like that with music, the affirmation, in every single lesson. So let me find the link here real quick. If you go to our website, for example,
I'm sure I can get it if you don't want to take that time.
No, I just did it. I dropped it in there. When you click on the product page, you scroll down and you'll see it'll have 3 different formats. You got to scroll all the way down: paperback, ebook, audiobook. Now, if you're an Audible person, you can just get it on Audible and then it'll be there. This will give you a zip file of, every 26 lessons with 4 files for each lesson: the principles, the affirmation, the meditation, etc.
I was going to ask you if you have any suggestions for how to use the different parts of each chapter. And is it more, it looks like more than a week.
Yeah, it's 26 lessons, so it's meant to be a lesson every 2 weeks, Martha.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're not going to meet again on this book study until February 10th. If you go to the schedule is on the website, Material Success Book Study. There's a product. I'm going to drop that in.
Okay.
So we have, today we were going to do lesson 1 and 2, but we couldn't do 2. There's so much. So we just did the introduction. But if you click on that link I just put in for the book study and scroll down, it has the schedule for every lesson that we're going to do for the whole year. So we're going to take our time, and then we'll have another monthly book study on whatever the new release is that we'll just do once a month. So I wanted to, we wanted to dedicate the whole, this is such an incredible course, and there's so much in here that we need to take our time with it. So yeah, I encourage you to take it as a year-long course, go one lesson every 2 weeks, and then just creatively, use the affirmation, use the meditation, read, highlight, come back, come prepared. Next time we'll do lesson 2, and we'll go from there.
And Narayanji, the classes are going to be at 4:30 Pacific time every other week?
Yeah, this time exactly, 4:30, 5:30 top. So we've run over today because I have been yapping.
We've been asking questions and they've been engaged.
Yeah, you're sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, great souls. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next time. Feel free, if you have any questions, you can always write to me, Narayan@crystalclarity.com. Okay? Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.